Comedy Pilot presents. Good evening. It's the 4th of December 2025, and this is the United State of News. I'm Johnson Hood, and these are the headlines. Satan to receive a pardon from friend and mentor. Far-right nationalists defending the UK from foreign intruders decide against joining the military and hang flags instead. Quentin Tarantino reveals his favourite film. It's probably about women's feet. But first, the White House war on so-called narco-terrorists has strayed from Caribbean waters into hot water, as Secretary of War Pete I Didn't Do It Hegseth has been accused of war crimes. The Washington Post reported that on the 2nd of September, a vessel was targeted by the US military with an initial strike, leaving 2 survivors clinging to the side of the boat. According to 2 independent sources, Pete then ordered a second strike, stating, "Kill them all." Despite the already murky legality of the operation, Article 3 of the Geneva Convention states you cannot hit someone out of combat, meaning once someone is down or injured, it is a war crime to target them with a second strike. Pete took to social media to defend himself, claiming the Washington Post was fake news, and their feature was fabricated, inflammatory and derogatory, something Pete knows all about, having worked for Fox News. He also said, "Biden coddled terrorists, we kill them." And to prove how serious he was about this, he posted a meme of Franklin the Turtle, a popular children's cartoon character, firing a rocket launcher at brown people in a boat. When questioned about Pete's actions, Trump went to his now familiar first line of defence. "I don't know anything about that." But then he later said he had 100% confidence in Pete. Given Trump also stated he has lowered drug prices by 1,500%, it is clear he doesn't know what percentages are. And that shouldn't be Pete's only concern. Trump said that while he had 2 billion and 3 cucumbers % confidence in Pete, he personally would not have ordered a second strike. Because while Trump may be happy to see fishermen clinging to wreckage, he's not about to cling to the potential wreckage of Pete's career. Slippery Pete has survived a number of controversies, including sexual assault allegations and his own mother claiming he mistreated women. And this latest incident may be no exception. Pete went from stating the accusation was fake news to someone else gave the order as quickly as he slaps an NDA on the women who accuse him of assault. And therein lies his potential undoing. The one law more important to the military than the Geneva Convention is you never rat on a fellow soldier. And Pete has done just that. So when Pete, I'm all whiskers and front teeth Hegseth, makes his next mistake, and he will, he may find his fellow soldiers are no longer there to take the blame. And now we go live to our roving reporter Billy Beans, who thinks Christmas isn't commercial enough. What have you got for us, Billy?
The Bank of England has warned of a sharp correction in the value of AI stock, meaning investments in AI will be corrected from worth something to, sorry dear, we have to live in our car. And it's not just the Bank of England. The warning has also come from JP Morgan, Sam Altman of ChatGPT, and from the head of Google, which just floats around in a jar these days. According to the experts, it's not certain when the AI bubble is going to burst, only that it will. The finance system throws up these anomalies from time to time, largely because traders are so greedy they make you sick. There was the housing bubble, the dot-com bubble, even the tulip bubble, where the cost of a single tulip bulb inflated to such a degree that 17th century Dutch investors paid up to £1 million for one. The bubble burst when Holland woke up one day and thought, they're just fucking flowers. But AI isn't tulips, and the whole world economy is banking on that being true. Billions and billions of dollars are being invested based on the dream that AI will achieve something extraordinary, And one of the front runners in this race is Elon Musk's Grok, an AI system that had to be taken offline when it started its very own Hitler fan club. Later it had to be adjusted again when it began claiming Elon was the best at everything, including, as one Grok user discovered, that Elon was the best at drinking his own pee. Desperate to show Grok had achieved something, Elon appeared on the Joe Rogan podcast, boasting Grok could soon roast guests at a party. That's $1 billion, so a laptop can call you fat. Like the 17th century Dutch tulip freaks, the danger arises when everyone wakes up to the idea that large language models like Grok or ChatGPT will only ever be good at one thing, using language well enough to pass for being human. Something call center staff have already achieved.
Good reporting. Now we join Virginia Cluckbucket for another instalment of her series examining American culture, called Toilet World. Toilet World, Toilet World, Toilet World, Toilet World, Toilet World.
Concerns are growing over Trump's health, following repeated photos of him falling asleep during meetings, most recently during a cabinet meeting. As cabinet members took turns to fluff the president into consciousness, he struggled to keep his eyes open. However, considering the fantastical lies put forth by the cabinet about Trump's achievements, they could easily have been misconstrued as bedtime stories. So it is hardly the president's fault if Trumpy Wumpy felt sleepy weepy. In an earlier press conference where Trump was announcing a price drop in weight loss drugs, he was caught sideways in his chair, eyes closed, dreaming that Melania still loved him. He only came to when a patient on the weight loss drug collapsed to the floor, and even then he restricted himself to standing behind his desk while he waited for Nursey to take him back to bed. While the world desperately hopes he's okay, it has forced the White House to persuade us we haven't seen what we've clearly seen. Caroline Leavitt, press secretary and evidence the body doesn't need a brain to survive, stated Trump had been examined and everything evaluated is functioning within normal limits, immediately raising the question of what wasn't evaluated. But Trump also confirmed his rude health. According to him, the president's physician, Sean Barbabella, claimed the test results were the best he had ever seen as a doctor, indicating Barbabella has only ever worked on corpses dragged from the sea. Trump also aced the cognitive test, he said, boasting how easy it was to name the animals in the pictures, suggesting it wasn't a test, but a children's book he'd been given. During his 2016 campaign, Trump's doctor, Dr. Harold Bornstein, admitted Trump had written his own medical report that was released to the media, including the line, "If elected, Mr. Trump will be the healthiest individual ever elected to the presidency." Trump's second term has been characterised by his orange gaslighting, as he attempts to persuade the American public that grocery prices are down, the tariffs are working, and he and Melania are just on a break. He spreads lies like bats spread COVID, and the idea Sleepy Don remains healthy is another porker, especially considering he is a 79-year-old surviving on a diet of Big Macs and bitterness.
And now we join guest reporter Thermal John, who once shot a man with an arrow. What have you got for us, Thermal?
The Conservative response to Rachel Reeves by Kemi Badenoch argued her budget was for Benefit Street, a thoroughfare that grew considerably through 14 years of Tory-led austerity. Pushing for the Chancellor's resignation, Kemi alluded to Hugh Dalton, who resigned after his budget was leaked in 1947, marking her as a true Conservative by believing the country would be better if we went back to a time where both Kemi and Rachel would have been second-class citizens rather than third-rate politicians. Following up on her word salad at the dispatch box, Kemi doubled down on her rhetoric, saying the budget was unchristian as there was no welfare in biblical times, forgetting the feeding of the hungry and free healthcare given out by Jesus. In Kemi's theology, Joseph and Mary would have no option but to accept the stable in Bethlehem as it was suitable temporary accommodation, and Lazarus would have been past fit for work prior to being raised from the dead. Kemi continues to try and be the worst Conservative leader in their 190-year history, a challenge that, unlike the rest of her workload, she's so far succeeding at admirably. No mean feat when you consider her predecessors include instigator of the Suez Crisis Anthony Eden, and Liz Truss, whose chaotic 49 days in charge are still being felt by mortgage payers and lettuce farmers. Further to the right of the Tories, admittedly not by much, Reform showed who they are working for by publishing a letter to Britain in all the UK papers, discussing this on an Ofcom-censored Not a News channel run at a loss by a prominent hedge fund-owning Brexiteer, and coordinating follow-up posts on a social media site owned by the world's richest man. Reform's pronouncement to decry the budget was for the good of the early rising workers of the country, a group they call Alarm Clock Britain, a lifestyle many of them also practice due to their need to work on Moscow time. Nigel Farage also promised to stop benefits for young people living with mild anxiety, before the thought of him becoming Prime Minister moves them into the serious kind. Reform hopes all this will distract attention from their former Welsh deputy leader being jailed for taking Russian bribes, and Nigel's alleged racist and anti-Semitic abuse while at Dulwich College. Their attempt to obfuscate may not be working, as Reform dropped 5 points in a poll this weekend, meaning the once high-flying party is in danger of spiralling out of control and hitting the ground. However, if past history is anything to go by when it comes to being involved in massive crashes, it means despite it all, Nigel Farage will still crawl out of the wreckage in one piece.
And that has been the United State of News. I've been Johnson Hood. Good luck. United State of News was written by Sean Baines with guest writer James Docherty. It was performed by Sean and Gillian Baines, James Docherty, and the esteemed Alex Morrison. Don't forget to follow Comedy Pilot Presents Down a Dark Alley for next week's episode.